Alright, today we're looking at a monkey.
The Hanzo.
Because, to defeat.
He's a good friend of mine. This was on PTR comp, so this is the roll Q thingy. And he's normally a support main, so he doesn't play Winston usually.
Yeah, a flash. Flash.
So that was good. This is good.
What? I was thing.
Yeah, you engage without a jump and you use your jump to get out. That's really good.
You got one. Uh-oh.
It's unfortunate that Genji died.
Come on. Widow low. No grapple.
Jumping on the high ground is good. Widow has no grapple right now, so she's a very easy target to dive. For 8 seconds.
Oh, nice kill.
Just damn card.
Widow's
He
behind
misses
shield.
jump. That's unlucky. Don't give up. You can do it. If at first you don't succeed, try again. It's not a hard jump to make. You definitely, especially on Gibraltar. Blue box is such a huge spot. Like, it's such an important spot. You can do so much from there. You can see basically the entire enemy team from up here. That's blue box. You can see the entire enemy team, and if you see someone low or someone without like any cooldowns to use or someone who's alone, it's very easy, incredibly easy for you to just drop down onto them without using any cooldowns, and then using a bubble to block some enemy cooldowns while you zap the person down, and then either using your leap to chase after them and secure the kill, or using it to get out. Instead, you drop down here. Hopefully you don't jump on the Mercy, which you don't do, which is good. But, so, you do drop and you walk. That's very good to engage. But if you were, up here, you could drop behind. And, just walk up into them from behind, and then they're kind of like pincered between the diva, the rest of your team, and you. And you would have had a jump to use then to chase after. But
I'm on Widow.
so rarely do you ever want to engage with jump, because then you're left out in the open in the enemy team with no mobility, and then you're a big fat 500 health target. But just besides that point, you don't want to jump on a Widow who has Guardian Angel. Or, Widow. You don't want to jump on a Mercy with Guardian Angel, because she's just going to Guardian Angel away.
I'm on Widow.
Which is what happens. And then you're left in the enemy team without any cooldowns. So, again, if you were on blue box,
I'm on Widow.
you could have just dropped down onto the Mercy. Or the McCree behind. And then you could have used your bubble to block the hook or block the flash or whatever. And another thing, your diva says he's on Widow.
Mercy.
Widow's right next to you.
Widow.
Like, she grapples out, but
No grapple.
I got you.
you find the monkey.
I'm dead here.
He's a dumb boy, and you kill him. That's good.
Okay, you only got more kills, but that's...
That's a good kill on the Widow.
Mercy.
Oh, I wish I could drop.
Yeah.
Mercy's low armor.
You noticed it yourself. You said, I wish he didn't drop. So, as soon as you kill the Widow,
Oh, I wish I could drop.
it's been a while since she used res. Mercy did. So, she's probably going to try to res her, so you can just, like, camp the body, essentially. But
Mercy's
it's fine.
low armor.
You guys win this fight, looks like.
She's back.
That was fast.
We are easy.
I guess you could say Butter
gonna set
King
up on
and Queen
shit.
aren't really a good match.
Actually, I'm just gonna drop on this on and then jump out. Who wants
So this is good. Use your bubble to block anti. That's huge. Anna's half health. This is good.
Let's choose
I'm
one.
on Mercy.
No, she's full. She's full.
She's full, but she's still just an Anna. You can still, like...
Mercy, I'm bad.
You're full health. Your diva's calling Mercy, who's right next to you. So your diva's with you. You're full health. Your Anna... Pretty sure this is your Anna shot. So your Anna can see you. There's no need to jump out. You're full health. You even have armor left. There's really no need to jump out here. And you drop down. She's half health. Just drop down on her, please. Like, she's half health. Your Genji's here. Your Diva's here. Your Ana can see you on cart. Drop down onto her. Just say, I'm on Ana. She's half health. You probably don't even need help from your enemy team, from your teammates, because Mercy's dead. She has no healing. The only thing she has to heal herself is nade. If you just drop down on her instead of looking at this McCree, who's just poking at you, but it doesn't matter because your Ana can heal you. You have over half health here. There's no need to go for 50 health from the mini.
Both healers.
Because you go for the mini, you get hooked by the hog, and you end up dying to the hog.
Oh.
And Ana's still alive. She's still alive here, whereas if you had just dropped down on her, she'd be dead and you'd be at full health because your Mora and your Ana would have
Oh
healed you.
wow, I should have jumped out. Okay.
And your Genji would have lived, probably.
By the hog.
Because then you would have been there and the hog would have like probably hooked you instead, but it would have been fine in that scenario because then you would have had your Mora and your Ana healing you. So,
Alright.
Hog with that thick dad bod.
I have my ulti.
Yeah, just
I guess
play
trust your
around
healers
Yeah,
more? Like,
Where's the Widow at?
Not on ship.
This is good. You're coming onto ship. Now, okay, so you're dropping down and you're using a bubble at the same time. Why? What are you attempting to block with the bubble? Who are you protecting with it? What cooldown are you blocking? So whenever you use bubble, you always want to be making sure that you have a plan in mind, sort of. Put more conscious thought into your bubbles. What cooldown are you blocking? Who are you protecting on your team? Do you even need this bubble? The answer to what cooldown are you blocking? I don't know. Like what's nothing's really endangering you over here. Who are you protecting on your team? Who are you gonna protect from an anti sleeping hog? I don't know. Do you need it? Definitely not. And you're dropping down onto anti sleeping hog, which is fine. Or what you can do instead is walk slightly further this way while the hog is antied and sleeping, and drop down behind them. Since you have primal, you can. When you have primal, that's basically your. It's my time to play aggro card. Like, primal is so great because it enables you to dive deep and stay alive, and it allows you to get out afterwards. So because you have primal here, instead of worrying yourself with an anti sleeping hog who's probably going to die to your team in the next couple of seconds, hopefully, if you just walk over this way a bit, drop down onto the McCree or the Ana or the Widow, and then use your bubble smartly to block an anti asleep or McCree's flashbang, and then use your jump, which would be on cooldown again, usable again to jump after the Widow who grapples away, or use it to get that extra 70 burst damage onto someone with the jump melee. And then once you start getting to about half health or lower, you use primal to either secure more kills or disrupt the backline or get out. That would have been a much better play than what you did here, which is just dropping down, wasting bubble onto a anti-hog, and then hog's nanoed, McCree's high nooning. This is not a good situation. If you had your bubble here, though, you could have blocked high noon, at least one bullet of it, and then you could have blocked hog hook, who's probably going to hook you pretty soon here because he's been sleeping for a while. He has it for sure.
That was
There you go.
Damn it.
I wanted to try and eat it, but it
And you get
too many outs.
high noon. So that's just unfortunate.
Hog's half.
Ball on point. Ball 1 on point.
Hog half.
Widow's right side. Wow, on the boxes.
Where? Oh yeah.
Please, Widow there.
Widow anti
Come on.
First.
Mercy,
So yeah,
Mercy, anti.
you definitely want to.
Damn it.
Yeah, he was high nooning, so there's
Winston,
not much
Yeah.
I can do.
this is good, except your entire team is dead. So, but they have Ball, Hog, Widow, McCree, Ana, Mercy. So there's really no one who can contest you except for Ball and Widow. So honestly, this is fine. This is a fine place to sit, and you get to claim all this space as yours. But yeah, with Winston, you want to be. You don't have to diving the backline. You don't have to necessarily be actually using your shift, your jump to dive onto them. Like, you can just drop down onto them from high ground, especially on Gibraltar. The reason why Winston is so good on Gibraltar is because there's so much high ground that's super easy to get to that you can just boop, drop down onto the enemy backline with. And then you can just use your jump to jump back onto high ground, or to jump out, or to, you know, chase a kill.
Here, right as I heard the voice line on action, and it's like, oh, I was
Okay,
unlucky.
I'm just gonna chill up here. I don't think they can contest.
Yeah, chilling up here is good. They can't contest you. This is good. You're pressuring the Widow away. Now, if you had called it out, that would have been even better. But it's fine.
Hey, Ana.
Widow's main with Ana.
Oh.
No, there's no reason to back out from the Hammond here. Your Ana can heal you up to full health quicker than the Hammond can deal damage to you, and then you can jump on him and poke him back, and then you can just go back and get more healing from your Ana instead of giving up this much space. And if you do give up this much space, you don't want to be jumping down onto low ground here. You can be jumping onto this high ground here, onto like the platform there where the Widow used to be standing, or going into the shuttle, or like the back, like the high ground, like back here, also connected to the shuttle, or like onto these boxes even is fine. Background, high ground, and then you can just, like taser down, you know, plot down a shield to block the flashbang, and then taser down the High Noon and push him back, or High Noon, McCree, push him back. Instead, you drop down onto the low ground, out of sight of your healers. Like your Ana is on the other side of these boxes here, so she can't see you. Right in front of McCree, who's going to be dealing a lot of damage to you.
Got me, though.
So yeah, you're forced to use a bubble, which saves your life, but it could have been used to block his flashbang instead, or something like that. If you had just like straight up dropped on him or something, I don't know.
We should be winning.
And then
this.
he's pushing up into your team. He should not live here. Like, you have two teammates here, you have yourself here. This should be an easy kill. Like, just walk up behind him and just taser him down. Then he's caught between your two teammates here and you here.
This.
McCree.
McCree, no.
Instead of getting stuck at the boxes. Then, yeah,
No
unfortunately.
flash, no flash.
McCree, push.
So if you had just walked up behind him instead of being stuck at the boxes here, you would have
We
been
should
able to
be
kill him.
winning
Most
this.
likely.
McCree, no flash, no flash.
McCree.
Bad jump.
Push, McCree, push.
What do you get by doing this jump? Absolutely nothing. If anything, it's a harmful jump because it puts you out of position with no cooldowns and out of range of the McCree. Whereas here,
McCree, no flash, no
you're actually in range of the McCree. You can just keep pressing W and just walking forward. This jump is really bad. If you had done like a mini jump and jumped onto him like closer, maybe that would have been better. If you jumped Mercy, try to like scare her away, maybe that would have been better. Like, this jump did nothing. Or maybe like jump like, you know, over here so you can, you know, block him from the Ana healing too. Maybe that would have definitely been better instead of just wasting jump here like this. Because of that, you miss out on like 1 or 2 seconds of just nano lasering him, and that allows him to live, looks like.
Fall sleep.
You do end up killing him, which is good, but
Widow.
again, this jump,
Widow.
Fall sleep.
Got it.
Widow has grapple for sure. And you're basically in... If you just press W instead of jumping, you can you would get into lasering range of all 3 of these people in like 1 second maybe. And then you would have your jump to chase after the Widow once she grapples away, or chase after Mercy after she Guardian Angels away. Instead, you jump in on them, you kind of disorient yourself, you're like, where's everyone? And you're like, oh, there's the Ana. But then at this point, Widow and Mercy have already grappled away. Whereas if you had saved your jump and just pressed W, when they jumped away, you could have chased them instead.
Widow.
Ana. Ana one.
So your Diva's calling Widow. You should go for like Widow. Like with Dive, if you split targets, if your target focus isn't there, it's very hard, especially against a Mercy and Ana who can just like pocket. It's very hard to actually get anything done because then like you're focusing one person who's getting healed by the Ana, you're focusing someone, your Diva's focusing someone else who's getting focused or healed up by the Mercy. It's very hard to get kills that way. What was that jump? So besides just this jump here,
Widow.
there's still a ball, and a hog in your backline. presumably on your, I believe that's your Ana. It's either your Ana or your Mercy. So you're not going to be getting very many healings right here, right now. So Diva is already going in on the Widow. Is that the best decision? Probably not. If she had just came here and killed the Ana with you, that probably would have been a lot better. But it's whatever. So when you're on this Ana, you have to be aware that Ball and Hog are in your backline, and they're, as soon as they kill whoever's in your backline, they're going to be coming for you. Or even if they don't kill them, they're going to be coming for you eventually. So you have Bubble though, so you can block a hook. So you should be looking to do that. She wasted sleep, so she has anti soon probably. So you should also be looking to block that with Bubble.
Widow.
On one.
If you had bubbled there, you would have been able to block the hog hook, which you couldn't have known was coming, I suppose, but that's not necessarily your fault. What is your fault, though, is this jump here.
On one.
You get hooked, you get scared, and you kind of do this upwards jump right into the shuttle, and you end up right back where you started from, outside of your shield even. So, two things. Jumping up when you're getting hurt is fine, but you have to be aware of where you are. In this case, you were directly underneath the shuttle, so you jumped right up into the shuttle and right back down. And so you basically just wasted your jump. It did nothing. It did no damage. It didn't really reposition you anywhere. Had you gone back to your team or repositioned onto like the high ground here or something like that, that would have been a lot better. You would have lived. Yeah. So the other thing is this bubble. I assume you use it. Use it here, I assume, because there's a hog on you and you're low on health, so you want to block, as much damage as you can so that your healers can get to you, which is fine. But in that scenario, you don't want to be using it while you're in the air. You want to be using it like, you want to get the most out of it, right? So getting the most out of it is not using it well, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like you end up landing outside of it because you bumped into the shuttle, I believe, and it like booped you away. But so the placement was a little weird, and that like you got antied because of it, and you got poked a little. But the anti is more like well played on the other Ana's part, more than like you misplacing your shield. But the jump was definitely bad. You could have repositioned, like just jump back. Or jump onto high ground somewhere.
Losing this.
I had a bomb.
Oh fuck. Widow sniping high.
So here, instead of taking poke from the Widow,
Can we jump that Widow?
Yeah, you should. Always.
She's up here with Tracer.
yeah, you jump onto high ground. This is good.
Ball too.
Claim the space. You have primal. There's no need to poke. You're just feeding ult charge.
I'm dead.
You're not going to be able to kill a wrecking ball that's being pocketed by Mercy. So your Ana just died in your backline.
Oh, dang. Okay.
As soon as that happens, you should be asking yourself some questions, especially to a hog. Like, did the hog just hit a super lucky, over across half the map right click? Probably not. That means the hog is somewhere close to your Ana's death here, which means you can, drop down. Your Genji's here. Your Diva was next to you. You can kill the hog probably, maybe, probably not actually. You already lost 2, so maybe you should just get out.
Back up. 2.5.
We're just having trouble getting.
Like, you just need to jump someone.
Yeah. Okay, let's.
Sorry, Trey.
No, it's okay.
They have walls.
Okay. Why don't we just?
So they have walls, but your entire team's here. You can be like, looking through the door here or the door behind you to the right here, and just like getting some scouting information. Because right now you have no idea where anyone is, but the enemy team knows where you are. So if you scout a bit, you have a lot of health. If you get poked, it's fine. You give your teammates some ult charge. If you get shot by Widow, she's ulting right now, so she's not going to get any ult charge. So really, it'd only be ult charge for your team. So definitely, the scouting info would be extremely valuable in this scenario.
Widow top right.
Because
I'm on
then once you know where, like, the general area of where people are, you can start making a plan of, okay, we're going to dive the Anna's who's in the back, or we're going to jump on the high ground and then drop down onto Widow and then chase after her, or stuff like that.
That's really aggressive.
Widow half, main.
Their Ana is really good at hitting antis, though.
Widow.
You're dying because his Tracer does a lot of damage.
Hog top left.
And
our
you're
side.
anti.
I'm good.
So, Hog top left, our side. As soon as you hear that, you should be like, okay, let's go kill the Hog first. Because he's on our side. That means he's, like, feeding. He's actually just feeding. If you kill him, like, it'll be an easy kill if you have all 6 versus 1 of him. And then you take the next fight 65 and you probably win that.
My
Hog top left, our side.
Okay.
Instead, you're like, okay, I'm Winston. I'm going to dive their Widow, or I'm gonna dive their Ana so that I can kill them and do my job as a dive tank. Which would be fine, except that there's a Hog top left, our side, who's going to just like, even if he doesn't kill your backline, just the threat of him being there is enough to force your backline to play in optimal positions, and like they have to always be like checking there every second or so, like every other second, just like, is the Hog coming? Is the Hog coming? Just that looming threat of the Hog is enough to like force them to not play optimally, and that means that you're not going to be getting a lot of support, which means that you're not going to be able to do much.
Top right.
And if it's very easy for the Hog to get a, pick on a squishy, because he just hooks and then they're dead, basically. So definitely don't want to be engaging when there's a Hog in your backline.
First right.
Widow one. I'm gonna ult here.
Back up. Okay, be careful.
Oh no!
You jumped right into the Genji.
Mercy low.
You jumped into me.
Mercy dead. Hog in back.
Hog in the back.
Hog's in the
No,
back.
that's it. Just die. Or
I'm out.
Yeah, it's over.
We're
You have to
splitting
kill the
ourselves way
Hog.
too much.
And also here,
Mercy.
I'm gonna ult here. Widow one. I'm gonna ult here.
yeah, so you kind of like press Q at the same time as the Genji. That's kind of unlucky. But generally, if your Genji's ulting, you don't want to be primaling. At least you don't want to be like booping people around, because that makes it really hard for your Genji to get dash resets and kills and stuff. But also, if you're stuck, just don't move.
Back up. Okay, be careful.
But I think she stuck you as you're already jumping.
Okay.
So like, yeah, there's nothing you could have done about that.
Be careful.
Oh no!
But what you could have not done is jump into your Genji who's blading and knock everyone out of his range.
Okay, be careful.
Oh no!
Like, even if you weren't stuck, that would have messed up.
You jumped into
That would have
me.
messed up the Genji's blade enough that you probably just like
Hog
actually.
in back.
Hog in the back. Well, no, that's it. Just die.
Okay.
Or
I'm out.
That's just really
Splitting ourselves
a
way too
series of
much.
very, very unfortunate events.
I got
And the Hog like murders your backline, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. So
What?
again, here, instead of just waiting here, looking at your teammates, you already know where they are.
Okay,
Just
you're
like
AFK.
go out and like.
Yeah.
Widow top left.
So you see the Hog. His right click is splitting right here, so that means he's probably like somewhere in this general area, right? Right. That's technically your side of the map, but because the Hog is there, it's become part of the enemy side of the map. But he's alone. So what you can say is, Hog top right by himself on our side of the map, let's kill him, and then go take the next fight 6v5.
Yeah.
Widow top left.
Okay, let me know when you get your boosters. And we.
I'm good.
Okay, Widow's in the shed.
Hog.
Hey look, Hog's right there. Hey look, your teammate's complaining about Hog. Instead of missing your jump into the shuttle, you could have gone for the Hog. But yeah.
He's behind us again.
Where's Hog?
So another thing, if you do want to engage,
I'm good.
Okay, Widow's in the shed.
Hog.
you missed the jump. That's unlucky. But there's a power boosted tracer in there. You're going to die because there's a hog on your back line. You're not going to be able to get any, especially if you like. It's actually lucky that you missed that jump, because if you did land that jump and you actually go into the shuttle, even if there was no hog on your back line, there's absolutely no support you could have gotten, no healing you could have gotten from your team, and then the damage boosted tracer would have just ended up murdering you. Unless your diva's with you, and then you could have, maybe defense matrix you for a bit, enough to get the Mercy low enough that she wants to get out, and then the tracer gets out, and then maybe you're okay. What would have been better, if you do want to dive, is jumping on top, and then you could have isolated the Ana or the Widow, and by dropping down on them. It's very hard to dive a tracer because she has 3 blinks, a recall, and in this scenario, it's even harder because she has 3 blinks, a recall, a mini right here, and a Mercy pocket. So, yeah, definitely before you attempt to dive on someone, you want to be thinking about who can help them, what escape options do they have, am I actually going to be able to kill them? If not, is scaring them away worth my time? Stuff like that. And just so that's if you want to dive, which was not the ideal play in this scenario, because you could have gone for the hog instead. You could have dived the hog and say, hey, dive hog top right, and even if it was just you and Diva, and I think it was your Widow up there also, you would have been able to kill him.
Hog, he focused behind us again.
You missed a jump, which is unlucky.
He's high ground right.
Jump hog,
But
jump
it's
hog.
actually kind of lucky because you
He's anti
live
behind.
because of that.
Jump hog.
So your Diva's not with you anymore. I think she went back to help the team. Instead of chasing this tracer, or tasering the Hammond, which you quickly realize is not a good idea because he's got a lot of health, you're not going to be able to do anything. Instead of chasing this tracer, so where's the enemy team right now? Hog is somewhere here in your team, or maybe he's down on low ground now, I don't know. Tracer's here. Hammond's above you, behind you, on the same platform that you just dropped down on. And then Mercy, Widow, Ana, they're all in the back somewhere in that direction, right? Maybe they're over here, I don't know. But basically what I'm trying to say is you're surrounded. You're literally surrounded by the enemy, basically. There's enemies in front of you, behind you, to your left, to your right. They're everywhere. You have 424 health. Your supports are being poked away by the Tracer and by the Hog. You're not going to get any healing. You're just feeding. You're just feeding.
He's anti.
What would have been better, instead of coming out here,
Right.
if you do want to commit to a dive or just like poke people, which is fine. Like you don't have to always be jumping in with Genji Diva all the time. If you walk around this way instead of going for a Tracer, who's a very hard target to kill, is Winston, especially with all her cooldowns, which she probably has, because she's just been sitting in this shuttle all day. If you come out here, this way, drop down onto, maybe Ana who's here, or Widow, or someone, Mercy, I don't know, and then use your jump to chase them when they try to escape in order to get that 70 damage burst, you'd be able to kill one of them, and then that would be enough for at least one other person to turn around and look at you, and then maybe you draw enough attention that the Hog decides, hey, maybe I should go kill the Winston in the back, or Tracer decides to come help too, and that alleviates pressure on your team and allows them, basically gives them space to do things, right? It takes off the pressure, some of it at least, while giving you while applying pressure to their backline and to the enemy team by being in their back. And then once you get a little bit low, you can jump onto high ground on top of the shuttle here, because no one can contest you except for Widow and Wrecking Ball, and neither of which does that much damage up close. So yeah, so that would have definitely been better than just dropping down in the middle of the enemy team with no cooldowns and just feeding.
Tracer?
Tracer on me.
Yeah, boot.
There we go.
Nice, we got Tracer. Widow though, she's popped.
Like,
Where's
your team manages to kill Tracer without you doing anything, right? So imagine if you had, you know, been here waiting for the Widow to come up, or like gone around and dropped down on their Ana or something, or the Widow, and then like if you had just been in the back line, like forced the Widow to look at you, imagine how much better this fight would have gone, because then the Widow wouldn't have killed your
where's she?
Moira,
Where's she? Where's she?
and the
Top right, top right.
Widow wouldn't have
She's
killed your
popped
Ana
by
here,
Mercy.
Near the mega room.
and you'd probably still be alive. So
Just kill the hog.
that's really.
Like,
Or you could have gone and killed the hog that was in your backline too. That would have worked too. That's how Winston like is played, with not as much communication. We just like go in the back of the enemy team and just like try to annoy them enough that you get things done.
The Widow's a good
That
way to
you alleviate pressure from your team by applying pressure to the enemy team,
Do we know?
and that gives you
She's top right.
your
There she
team
was.
some space to
Probably.
do things.
She's still top right. Tracer
I'm
top.
gonna set up in the
I'm
ship.
with you.
She's inside ship, inside ship.
I got her.
You're
Hogging
back up.
card, hogging. Somebody's gonna have to touch, somebody's gonna
I can
touch.
touch, I can.
Somebody's gonna have to touch.
So
You're back
Hogging
up.
card, hogging.
Tracer
I'm
top.
gonna set up in the ship.
I'm with you.
you jump up here, which is good. If you just stayed up here, that would have been better, because then you have the option of, again, looking for an Ana to drop down onto, looking for a Widow, Mercy, or whatever, or even just like staying up here and just poking down the Tracer, who is eventually going to come out here because she's down here.
She's inside ship.
Instead of
Yeah,
going
that's it.
into the
Got her.
Tracer, getting stuck, and
Hogging
then
card, hogging.
just getting bursted down.
Somebody's gonna have to touch, somebody's gonna
I
have
can
to touch.
touch, I can.
just kill the hog. Forehead. Forget about the ball.
All one.
Oh, come on, guys.
And I think that's it.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they changed it so fire.
Yep. Okay. So, things to think about. Your jump usage. Just think more before you use a jump. Generally, with a jump, you'll use it to chase a target, finish off a kill, or to get out, reposition. You don't want to just be using it because you have it. And when you do use it, you want to make sure that you can actually get to where you want to go. And the best way to practice that is just in a custom game with like some auto bots and, you know, no cooldowns. You just practice jumping, short jumping, long jumping, side jumping, stuff like that. Just practice the different types of jumps. And also, generally, you want to be jumping onto high ground so that you can drop down onto the enemy backline with your cooldowns still there, so that you can use them to, again, chase a kill or to get out or reposition. Your bubble usage, you want to be using it to block cooldowns mostly, so blocking, you know, McCree, flashbang, blocking on a sleep, on an anti, blocking hog hook, stuff like that. Primal, honestly, you didn't get to use Primal that much. I didn't notice too much wrong with it, except for the fact that when Genji's blading, you don't want to be using Primal to knock people around, because that'll mess up his blade. I guess with Primal, you can play a lot more aggressive. You can go a lot deeper than you would normally go. So when you have Primal, especially when you have Primal, getting onto the shuttle, dropping down on Theana, you can stay for a very long time. And you can probably, you know, once you get low, you can use it to either secure the kill, finish off the kill, or to get out, or do both. Yeah, if there's a hog in your backline, kill him first. You know, you want to punish people's stupid mistakes as much as you can. Like, if people overextend way into your team, kill him first before doing anything else, so that you can basically take the next fight 6v5. Okay, I believe that's everything. That's everything I noticed anyway. Hopefully this was useful, and thanks for watching.